Hi, welcome to the live session of unveiling the brand new Nikon Z series. So I'm Jin Xiang from Motion in Style, and today actually we are in KL now. And this morning there's a launching session from Nikon Malaysia. So we get to experience the camera, the brand new camera, the mirrorless Z series this morning. And also today it's our pleasure to have Mr. Albert from Nikon Asia to be with us today.
Hi. Hi, nice to meet you. Hi.
We are going to share with you a little bit about this Z series. So if you have any questions, of course, feel free to comment below. So if you have any questions, we will try to answer all these things. So before we start, maybe we can ask Mr. Albert to share with us some thought of this new camera.
Okay, basically, we do have the actual unit here. This is one of the models that is introduced today as well. There's two models in total. This is the Z7, the flagship model, and at the same time, there's another model which is we call it a Z6. Both model basically looks identical from the exterior, basically. So what is the biggest difference between the two? There are some key differences. I think one of the biggest difference is definitely the resolution itself. So this is the Z7, the high-res version. I also get to know that basically Jin Xiang has gotten the units like last Friday. He actually tried out during the weekend shoot as well. So why not we start the live sessions checking out with Jin Xiang. How does it feel as a first impression when he holds the cameras? Yeah.
Okay, so as Albert mentioned, last Friday I had the opportunity to try this camera. So it's just in about a few days, I mean from last week to now. So from my first experience, I shot a wedding with this camera last Friday. So if you all may know, I'm always using DA50. And from DA50 change to this Z series, the feeling is really very smooth. I would say that all the buttons are very familiar to me. And the good thing is about now all the buttons mainly move to this side. So it's very convenient, I would say. Then the first thing that I really love about this camera is, okay, it's a 100 frame, it's a 100 frame per second slow-mo with sound. So previously when I am using DA50, I had an issue. It's like when I want to shoot slow-mo, okay, when I want to shoot slow-mo, then the camera doesn't allow me to record any sound. So, but now I have the option to choose 100 frames per second and have the sound at the same time. So usually how I use this function, okay, for example, if I'm shooting an event, okay, let's say a boxing event, previously if I want to do a slow motion video, I will set to the 25x4. So, okay, in that case, I have the slow motion video, but I don't have the sound. But now, with the 100 frame setup, I can shoot 100 frame with sound. So, like, let's say the boxing match, I want to get the feeling. Then when the guy punch the other guy, so I can do a really slow motion and I can disable that part, the sound of that particular part. So this is, I would say, one of the best thing that I discovered through this model. And another thing is, of course, the in-camera VR. So this function is very useful. So when we shoot, especially like a wedding or maybe event, we need to move really fast. So that day, in the last Saturday, so I tried to shoot with this camera and together with FTZ mount, the FTZ adapter and my Nikon lenses. So when I shoot like the decoration, I mean the flat lay. So sometimes we put on like the rings, the invitation cards, then the shoes all together. So previously I have to use like monopod, okay. But monopod, as you know, like the movement is like quite limited. Okay, then now, or maybe slider. Slider is at left, right. But now with handheld, I can do like panning. So the shots seems very stable. So I think I'm quite impressed with the VR function, the in-camera VR function. So the third thing, of course, is the FTZ mount. I mean FTZ adapter. So with this adapter, I can actually use all my previous lenses. So because I've been using Nikon for many years, so I have like actually quite a huge range of Nikon lenses. So I don't need to worry that so with this camera, I have to like buy again all the lenses. And the good thing is the autofocus still can function. and then the VR is still functioning.
Yes.
So all these things is really very useful. And one more thing is the focus tracking. So also same, like during a march in the wedding last week. So when the bride marching in, I set the focusing to her face, and after that when she is marching in, the camera actually tracked the focus like very smoothly. So I just touched the screen to focus, and the feeling totally different from last time. I mean from the A50. So the A50 sometimes when I focus, it is like sometimes like the lens will like track again.
Yeah.
But for this one, it seems so smooth.
Much smoother and more accurate, I would say.
Yes, yes. So is there anything? I mean, is it because of the design or what that caused this focusing to be so smooth?
Yeah, there is quite a different, because both system, the A50 and also the Z7 uses a completely different kind of focusing module. So basically what this one does, it has a, the focusing is actually covering the whole sensor, 90% of that. So that allows the cameras to actually track a lot better. Even though, of course, the best is to use the native lenses like the the Z lenses, the Nikon Z line. That will give you the maximum benefit. Even the same thing when you use the adapter mount, the FTZ, together with the conventional lenses like this one, the F mount 85mm 1.4, for example. It will also, you will somehow like what Jinzheng experienced, you will experience that it actually works slightly better than it was previously on the SLR itself. And plus, for example, this kind of lenses, 85mm, it doesn't have the the VR in the lenses. The cameras actually has a built-in VR, like what Jinzheng mentioned. That VR will also function for existing lenses as well. So I think in a lot of cases, especially handheld shooting video, it will help in many occasions, like more flexibility in moving because you're not restricted by monopole anymore, what Jinzheng mentioned. So you are free to do a lot more, I would say,
So the touchscreen, I feel that's really one of the biggest difference. So maybe we get some response from the audience. So okay, maybe you guys can comment a little bit. Do you really think touchscreen is an important feature in a camera? So if you think it is, maybe comment a yes here. And if you think it's no, then you comment a no.
Yeah.
So we'll see like maybe what's your response.
Yeah, the camera has a new touchscreen functionality, a much improved version, a more fluid and smooth than the previous SLR. So if you use it a lot, like what Jinzheng mentioned, you like it, give us a yes. Otherwise, give us a no. Yeah, so we know roughly what kinds of features you are interested with. Then we can discuss a lot more into that. That makes everything more interesting. Yeah.
Because previously when I was using, because I started since like D7000, then D610, I mean D600, D800, all those while I don't feel touchscreen is important. But after the A50, I feel okay, like touchscreen to focus
something
is
new,
really not bad. But now the Z7, the Z series, the touchscreen is even better. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, let us know if you use touchscreen. Yes.
We have yes. So seems like.
Yeah, I think quite a lot of you are preferred the touchscreen functionality as well. Yeah. So to give you some idea, this screen now is 3.2 inches wide. You can still pull it out, tilt up, tilt down, for example. So it has multi-touch support. There's a lot of basically the whole cameras is touch enabled. You can use it for focus point selection. You can even control, let's say, your user menu. You can navigate around the user menu. You can use it as a keyboard input whenever you need to key in password or something like that. There's more than that. So, for example, we always, a lot of time, we always want to customize or personalize the cameras to your own usage. So, one tips here, there's an I button here. You press it, I button. This is the quick I setting menu. If you can see it on the screen. I button, the screen menu, all this overlay, this icon, you can actually customize to your preference. So there is one setting for photo, there's another setting for video. So you can have, for example, in video, maybe you don't use the Wi-Fi at all, why you have a Wi-Fi there.
So you actually can, the photo and video has a different setup.
Yes, correct. So you have two sets.
There's something good,
So it's something for everyone. So this camera is highly customizable besides the shortcut key. Or the screen icon can be rearranged to your pace as well.
So when we shoot photo, there will be another set of shortcuts.
Yes.
And when we shoot video, there will be another set of shortcuts.
Yes, it's completely possible. Yeah.
Yep, great. So if you guys have any questions, you can always ask in a comment.
Let us know.
Alright. So for those who have just joined this live, so okay, I am Chin Xiang from Motion in Style, and this is Albert from Nikon Asia. So the live here today is to bring you to share with you more on the new camera, the new Z series. So if you have any questions, you can always comment below, and we'll try to answer all these things. So we actually posted about this live last week. And I've gathered some questions over the weekend. So, okay, let's see the response from the audience now. Okay, while we are waiting for any questions.
If you have something in mind, let us know. We try to explore into that topics for you as much as possible.
Okay, the questions I received earlier is okay, what's the major difference between the Z6 and Z7?
Oh, okay. So like I shared earlier, okay, basically we have only one sample unit here. This is the Z7. We also have Z6, like what Xinxiang mentioned as well. Both cameras look identical from the outside. So the biggest difference is the sensor. For example, Z7 has the 45.7 megapixels. Z6 has the 24.5 megapixels. So it's roughly about half the size. To give some idea. Because of that, you also have a little bit of difference between here and there. For example, the continuous shooting speed. This will be the 9 frames per second on full size. Z6, because of smaller size, you can go all the way up to 12 frames per second. So you gain a little bit on speed. With a smaller file size. That's some of the key difference between the two cameras.
Okay. So like Z7, Z6. So is it like Z7 is more for the photographer and Z6 for videographer, or like what do you think about this?
Theoretically, by design, both cameras actually have the same kind of feature set. Okay, they both shoot 4K video, for example. They both shoot, of course, the full photography features as well. But being a smaller resolution sensor in a G6, it has a certain advantage over the Z7 when it comes to video. For photo, definitely the Z7 will be ultimate in terms of the resolution. Z7 will be better on the resolution or photo resolution, and at the same time, because of the ISO's arrangement, it can go very low. So the dynamic range in general is a lot better. You can do a very different kind of ISO setting. For Z6, in the other hand, it's very suitable for people who shoot a lot of video. People like Jin Xiang, for example. So
you should buy Z6.
Yes, of course. I think depending on what you do, if you do a lot more video, I think the G6 is more powerful because when you use the Z6 for video, when you shoot 4K, for example, you can use the full sensor. Okay, both cameras can use the full sensor for 4K, no crops, no whatever. Okay, but the G6 will have advantage because of the sensor resolution is lower. You can actually use the full sensor, no pixel binding, what we call a super sampling. So essentially, you are shooting at a higher resolution, 6K equivalent, and the cameras will actually process it into a 4K. So this makes the video footage a lot higher in details, and also reduce in the the ISO noise as well. So overall, it gives you, in short, better image quality. Besides this, the Z6 also have the similar kind of slow motion function as well. It can also shoot 100 frames, like what Xinxiang always do. It can also do 120 frames as well if you need to, with no crop. Because the Z7, when you do that, it will be cropped because of the sensor resolution. It has to crop into a DX mode. So DX mode means that the image area is tighter. So your for example, your 50mm will become a 75mm. So with the Z6, there's no crop. Your 50mm will be a 50mm. Your wide angle will be a wide angle.
When I shoot slow.
Yes, even the slow mode.
That's really a great
Z6 will be a lot more interesting on the video itself.
Okay. So we have a few questions from the audience now. Okay, from James Fong. Okay, so James Fong asked about how's the battery life for a single charge.
So battery life, there's a lot of debate online, I believe you read somewhere. Officially, one single battery for photography is 330 shots, which is very low, for a lot of people. But based on a lot of feedback on real life application, basically the battery can go a lot longer. Averagely, I would say it's 800 to 1000 shots region. The reason that the official number are so low because they are actually measured using CPA standards. CPA standards are typically you shoot a photo, then you preview on the screen itself for 30 seconds. There's a certain amount of time. I cannot recall the exact number, but let's say it's 30 seconds before you do another shot. So you keep on running that process until the camera flat. That was a very old measurement system. It's actually designed for DSLR. So at this moment, there's no official measurement for mirrorless kind of system yet, but we don't know that in reality, this camera actually lasts a lot longer for still. So average is about 800 shots to 1000 shots easily, depending on how you actually use the camera. So using the screen, definitely will last slightly longer. Using the viewfinder is a little bit shorter on the time, maybe 10%, 20% different, roughly, to give you some idea. That is for still alone. But since today we have Jinxiang here, I think we are using it more for video. For example, single charge of battery for video is rated at 85 minutes. Single charge, yeah, one single battery. So if you definitely needs more than that, beside having changing battery, there will be a battery pack coming for the camera itself. Allows you to put two battery, which essentially doubled up the battery life, 85 minutes time 2. Or you still need a lot more than that. Maybe you are using it with HDMI, recorder, something like that. You can actually use the AC adapter as well. AC adapter is the same dummy plug as a DA50. It's the same plug. So you can share it together in the camera as well. So this will work for both photo and video.
Okay. Yep. So for battery, actually, I have something to add. Another thing I love about this camera is because it uses the same battery with the DA50, the D750. It's the ENEL15. Okay. So from my experience in a wedding shoot over the last weekend, because I only have one this ENEL15B, right? Yes. So I have the ENEL15, the old one. So I mix all the battery to use together, and I managed to shoot a wedding day morning session with just about 2 battery plus. I think 2 battery, then going to the 3rd battery, but it's just use a bit of power. So and one more thing I would like to know also, which is this battery, the ENEL15AB.
What's the difference?
Yes. Is there any difference between?
So I think Jinxiang noticed that the battery that come with the cameras actually are slightly different. The color tone is slightly different actually. Used to be black, then after that you have a gray color, then this is another gray color with the label something different a little bit. Okay, model name basically is still the ENEL15, but now the latest version is actually B. You can use the new version on old camera as well, like on the A50, it will be fully compatible, no change or anything. Even the old battery can also be used on the new cameras, no change of anything. Okay, the only extra benefit from this new generation of battery is basically when this battery is inside the Z7 or Z6 body, you can actually use the Type-C USB. Okay, there's a Type-C port, USB port here. You can actually use a USB to charge the battery. So on the Z7 cases itself, when you buy the cameras, the cable and the charger is included. The external charger plus the USB charger as well. So which means if you have a lots of the ENEL15B, the new battery, whenever you go travel or you go to some kind of assignment, traveling light, you can actually use just the USB charger. That USB charger will even work when you plug it to your computers. Okay, it's not limited to using the AC plug. You can use a power bank. You can use the USB port of your computers. Something, of course, using a proper power source, charge a lot faster. If you use a computer, laptop, USB, definitely the time is going to be longer. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is something on the new battery. Yes.
Okay. So the second questions we have here is okay, from Charles Fan. Okay. So this question is for video shooting. Z6 comes with full pixel read up. Is it 6K to 4K?
Yes. Okay. Basically, when it comes to Z6, like what I mentioned earlier, when you shoot full frame, it's actually shooting at 6K. Then the camera super sample it into 4K itself. So doing this, it gains some advantage. For example, no crop. It's full sensor. Yeah. Full sensor, 6K to 4K. You actually gain a lot of extra definition, sharper image, and also lesser because the noise are basically reduced. So it's actually overall improving the image quality. Even though it's still the same 4K images. So comparing to Z7, Z7 also offer no crop, full sensor as well. But side-by-side comparison, you will find that the Z6 actually has a better image quality Both full sensor 4K, but they behave slightly different. Yeah.
So for videographer,
yes, Z6 definitely is a better option.
For, right?
Yes, the better option. Yes.
And also from Charles Fan also, can use the CF Express card in future?
Yeah, okay. So as you may know, these cameras actually uses a single slot XQD card at this moment. So there will be a firmware updates soon. When the next generation of XQD card released, basically it's called a CF Express. They looks the same in size, just that the speed are a lot faster and the maximum capacity is a lot bigger. So both card will be supported as well in the camera. So you can use either the XQD. If you have lots of XQD from the older days, like the D4 era, D5 era, it will still be compatible. Or moving forward, if you happens to see the the faster XQD card, the CF Express, it can also be used. Yeah, both ways as well.
Since we are talking about card, I have one question earlier here. Like they asked about why XQD instead of SD.
Okay, very good question, I would say. The reason is mainly is because of reliability and also the speed performance of the card itself. So as you see, this camera is currently very small in size, as I would say. One of the bigger reasons is you cannot put more than one slot here, unfortunately. So here, in between SD card and XQD card, we have decided to, Nikon has decided to use the XQD card. Basically, it's because of the XQD card is more reliable in many sense. Okay, for example, the card itself, the whole casing itself, is actually built tougher than the typical SD card. I think if you use SD card before, accidentally you put in a pocket, then you've forgotten and you sit on it. People like me who have generally big in size, you basically will smash the card. Okay, so this is a lot tougher in a single piece memory card. Besides that, the speed is a lot faster. The slowest speed from XQD card is still faster than the fastest SD card, the UHS2 card. Yeah, so you gain both sides, reliability and also the performance.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, so the next question is that a lot of people are also comparing this to 850. So maybe this one I can answer a little bit. From my experience, I feel both cameras are great, but to shoot video, I think the Z series is a better choice.
Yes.
But maybe from Nikon point of view, is there anything like how do you all compare these two models, like the A50 and the Z series?
Yeah. Okay, basically both system has its own good and bad point, basically. So for SLR, definitely the battery life is still the top, I would say. Still lasts a lot longer, but unfortunately the way the DSLR is still largely based on the previous mount, the F mount system itself. So there's a certain limitation on lens design. So when it comes to video, one of the biggest disadvantages is basically the focusing performance on the DSLR. So for photo, definitely you don't see any problem because you are using the traditional focus module, nothing to do with the live view shooting. So when it comes to live view shooting, which is essential for video, you start to see that the autofocus is not so fast, basically, and not so reliable, I would say. So, but because of the way mirror system is designed, you don't have this problem anymore. Okay, because of the way it was designed, basically in video shooting, especially for home video movie maker, I would say, you don't need to worry so much on the focusing, I would say. So the focusing works more like a video cameras, for example. So everything, you can still even do it on tracking, putting it on a gimbal, a stabilizer, or even handheld, using the built-in stabilizer, this and that. So you can also use the tracking. It will make the whole shooting a lot easier. So of course, people like Qin Xiang, using it for more commercial purposes, professional, of course, you will benefit from, you still can able to use a manual focus, for example. It's still supported, definitely. But this new thing will make things even a lot faster and easier. I would say a lot more things to explore.
Yes. Okay, so the next question also they ask about is using a VR lens, using a F mount VR lens. Okay, on an FTZ adapter, like versus a non-VR lens on an FTZ adapter. So is there how's the difference?
Okay, so basically this is how it looks like on the adapter. We call it an FTZ adapter. So let me introduce the adapter a little bit first. Okay, this adapter allows you to mount traditional F mount lenses. This one, for example, into the new body. So you see that there's a smaller size in front. This is basically for the lens. The newer mount is actually bigger. One side is bigger, one side is smaller. So there is no mirror or no what do you call that? There are glasses in between, which means this is just it's a pure adapter. It doesn't convert any light into or maybe making the lights losing or something like that. So whatever's coming through the lenses will go through straight to the camera itself. So you get a maximum rating rubber. So one key benefit is definitely for lenses like this, the lenses without VR. For example, you put it on, like what Zinzan mentioned. How does it different between this and 7200 VR, for example? So what is the difference between the two? Okay, because the body has a built-in VR. So basically, if you use lenses, you use the native lenses, for example, the VR will have 5-axis support. Effectiveness is actually up to 5 stop. So you have the maximum effect, 5-axis and 5 stop using the native Nikon Z S-line lenses. But the moment you put it to this adapter, you still gain the VR. But you notice that the mount is a lot smaller, so you lose 2 of the axis. You still have the 3 axis basically, no longer 5. You basically still have the 3. And if you put in a non-VR lenses, 85 for example, it will have a 3-stop advantage, 3 axis, 3 stop as well. So this is for lenses without VR. Okay, these also include very, very old lenses, like AIS lenses, for example. The lenses that it was, you probably have it like maybe 20 years, 30 years, I don't know. It still works here. It doesn't have autofocus, obviously. You still get benefit from the VR. So this is the minimum case, the older lenses that we are with. Okay. Let's say now you have the, I don't have a VR lenses here. For example, you have a 70-200 VR, for example. You put it on. So for lenses like that have VR built-in, both VR will actually work together. Okay. It is still 3 axis, but the effectiveness will be following the lens itself. If the lens is actually rated for 4.5 stop, for example, the advantage will be the 3 axis, 4.5 stop. Okay, so both VR will work. Okay. You can also, of course, you can switch between the normal mode and the sport mode. Both mode will also work as well. So yeah.
Okay. Since you talk about like normal mode and sports mode, so maybe can you elaborate more on like this normal mode and sports mode? What are the differences?
In short, normal mode is the traditional, original VR mode, I would say. So it only activates the moment you press. So sometimes, especially when you shoot long lens, because before you shoot, it's not stabilized. So your image may be very jerky. Because it's not stabilized, just like without VR. Okay, so sport mode in this case actually works better because it's always on. It's also designed to a stabilized moving subject, for example. So that's why it's called a sport mode. When you activate the cameras, when the metering is running, everything the VR will kick in. So the image you saw actually is already stabilized. So it helps you to compose easier. So there is a different kind of usage between the two modes. The two mode is also selectable, depends on what kind of things you shoot and which kind of shooting modes that you prefer actually. Yeah.
Okay. So we have a comment from Rayo. Okay, Rayo. Hello.
Hi.
So he asked, does the lens converter for existing lens included in the package? I think he means this FTZ, is it included in the package when we buy a new Z camera?
Okay. So there's a different package being offered in the local office. Of course, if you're a completely new customer, for example, you do not have any existing f-mount lenses, there's no point for you to get this. Okay, but if you're an existing customer, maybe Ray, I believe, you can choose to have this together in the kit set as well. So there are different kits available. There are kits that goes only like body with the standards. The 2470. This is the one package, and the other package is body with just the adapter for people who owns a lot of existing lenses and do not wish to buy the new lenses. One example. There are also the package with the camera body, of course, plus the adapter, plus the 2470. You get everything. So you get best of the both worlds. You get to use your existing lenses at the same time. You get the 2470 to try the new system, the new the benefit. Yeah.
So I think the next question that all of us would like to know is how's the stock availability for all these things? Because a lot of us experience a lot of stock shortage for the A50. So how about this Z series? Anything from Nikon that
Yes.
the stock status.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, I think a lot of there are some places in US, for example, are still back ordered for the A550 despite it's already 1 year. I think in Malaysia, back in Malaysia, Singapore, I think it's a lot better now. It's normalized, I would say. But definitely, this Z7 and Z6 we're expecting a very high demand. We're expecting a very high demand based on the the feedbacks from the session that we already done, a few of them. I would advise that if you're interested to get it, grab one if you see one as soon as possible. So I believe there will be some waiting time. If you delay or if you wait too much. Yeah, so it's going to be very, very high demand, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, so Rayo, remember to place order, okay?
You can maybe you can get Xinxiang to help you to place order. I don't know.
Okay, so for those who just joined in this session, so I'm Xinxiang from Motion in Sao, and this is Albert from Nikon Asia. So the live session today is just to share with you about this new camera. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment below, and we'll try to answer it within this live session. Okay. So maybe we need to speed up a little bit because we have a few more questions coming in.
Interesting.
Okay, so from Leon Low, I think this is a very sensitive question, but maybe we see how Albert replied. Which is better, Nikon Z7 or Sony A7 Mark III?
Yeah, I think obviously since Nikon pay me, I have to say Nikon is better, right? But
I have to say so.
Yeah, so it's okay, very straightforward. It depends on how you look at things. Okay, we will not say this is the best camera. It has its pros and cons, definitely. There are some point which is better here than a Sony. There are also some point better in the Sony. So it depends on how you look at things. But if you look at how many existing Nikon lenses you have, and looking at how this camera is able to adapt to that completely, and how does it complement to your existing ecosystem, I would say that it's a lot easier for you to make a decision between the two cameras. Okay, we are talking about if you are comparing with Sony directly, I think the model Z7 is more like an A7R Mark III, I would say. Yeah, the Z6 is more like an A7 III. So there is a difference between the two model itself. So because of the price range, and of course, being a Nikon, I believe the moment you pick it up, you will feel that this is the Nikon cameras. Much better in design, despite the overall dimension is about the same. I think the difference is so small, you cannot even notice anything. The height, everything is about the same, but this is a lot better on the grip. You can only feel it, of course, from here. Of course, I say it's good. I believe, I would suggest that whenever there's a test or trial session, do join, have a try before you decide on anything. So this is, I think, a very important, different kind of product we are talking about today, yes.
Okay, so the next question from Vic Yi Wong. Is it the first full-frame camera that has analog 10-bit and 422? Is it the first full-frame camera?
In a way, yes. In a way, yes. Technically, yes. Because analog is, the only cameras that has analog basically is Nikon. Okay, analog is developed by Nikon, so it is 10-bit, it is 422, all the way up to 4K. So these will be the two cameras that first has this functionality, Z7 and Z6. Yeah.
Okay, so the next one, Rayo just say my voice is very soft, so I need to speak louder, is it?
Maybe I'm too loud.
Okay, so good. We just closed an order. I think Rayo placed order liao, he said.
Oh, thank you very much. Nice.
Okay, let me see. Does the silent shooting photography works for? Okay, so from YK Tang, does the silent shooting for photography works both in AFS and AFC mode?
Yes. You can use the continuous shoot, no issue. You can use all the way up to 9 frames per second, 12 frames per second, no issue. No blackout at all, if you want to ask. Yeah.
Okay. So the next question I have here is, any limitation of using f-mount lenses on FTZ?
Limitation. What kind of limitation are we talking about? Basically, I think a lot of users are very worried because when it comes to adapter, a lot of time you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Okay, but for this adapter is completely different. If you use the AFS lenses, for example, lots of lenses are AFS nowadays, AFS or AFP, even newer. All these lenses will have full compatibility, no restriction at all. So the zero restriction, you can use a full shutter speed, You can use the the focus tracking. You can even shoot continuous with tracking works as well, 3D tracking or whatever it is that you want to do. Full. There are in total number there are 92 lenses in the catalogs now. Some of them is already discontinued, but there are 92 available kind of lenses. You can actually use it with full compatible, no restriction at all. So if you use the older lenses, for example, the the AIS lenses, the manual focus lenses, definitely you put it in, it will still do not have any focus. Okay, but you can make use of the focus picking, for example, makes the whole focus process a lot easier, smoother, and of course, you benefit from the VR. VR works in both ways anyway.
Yeah, true.
And okay, the only limitation I would say is that if you have the older autofocus type of lenses, maybe AFD, for example, this particular lens, 51.4D. Okay, these lenses is because the lens itself does not have a motor built in. When you put it in, it does not autofocus. Okay, you can still use every single function, the VR, the focus picking, everything. It does not autofocus. Okay, so the only lens that you will for autofocus is basically the AFS and AFP. Maybe that is the only limitation we are looking at. So I think a lot of people could be having the 51.8D. Maybe. Yeah. Of course, that lens is quite dated now. Maybe it's a good time to upgrade to something new. You're missing a whole lot more out there.
It's time to buy again.
Yes. The world has changed so much that nowadays 50mm has improved so much, I would say. So always remember, in the the Nikon history itself, up till now, there's approximately about 360 lenses you can put it on this adapter and still be able to use it. 360 of them can mount it and use it. That is coming from Nikon alone. Okay, so out of the 360, there are 92 of them will have the full functionality. Yes.
Okay. So since we are discussing about this model, so a lot of people think that should we pronounce it as Z or Z? Okay, so maybe let us ask the audience. Okay,
what do you think?
What do you think? If you think you should pronounce it as Z7, maybe you can comment Z. If you think it's Z, then maybe ZED. So let us know what do you think? And we have an answer from Nikon. Later we'll review that. Okay, so next question. They asked about how's the grip feeling. But I think grip feeling is more to something that they have to try because sometimes if you have a big hand and small hand, if you ask me, I would say that the gripping is good because I don't think my hand is very small, but I think the gripping is like just nice for me. Okay, so for gripping, maybe I would say it's really quite good. Okay.
So definitely I have a lot bigger hand than Jinxiang, I would say. So to give you some idea, this is a 35-1.8 lens. So when I grab it, this is how it looks like on my hand. Basically my pinky still have a little bit of space for me to rest on. So because of the grip is actually quite thick in size, so a lot of things is you can have a very firm grip here. And because of the way the back area is designed, there is a hinge here allowing you to have your the thumb to rest on. It makes the whole hand holding a lot more comfortable. This is talking about small lenses. Of course, when you have the FTZ adapter, some of you may have the big lenses, the big bazooka out there, 600mm. I don't know. Okay, it could be you need to get a little bit get used to it because the camera has become so small, the lens has become so big. So it could be very different from you if you're coming from that kind of background.
Okay, so we have a question. We have a question from Vic E Wong again. So okay, is it without blackout when using in continuous shooting mode?
Yes. Okay. Basically, there is two different kind of continuous mode. Basically three. You have the CL, which is you can set between 1 to 5 shots, continuous shots. That will have the blackout because it's a slow speed. Okay. So you also have the CH, used to be the fastest speeds in DSLR world. Now it's actually 5.5, not the fastest, but in the middle. Okay. So for Z7 itself, you can go all the way to 9 frames per second, right? Okay, that is actually the CH extended, the CH plus mode. Okay. CH plus mode, you can actually have a no blackout. So it's shooting at 9 frames per second with the tracking, the autofocus tracking as well. You see everything in whatever you shoot without blackout.
Okay, so next question from YK Tang. 3D focus tracking in Nikon DSLR has been pretty superior. Is there anything similar in the mirrorless Z? I think definitely yes. Because the focus tracking, you have to try by yourself, I think.
A lot better.
It's really working very well now.
Yes.
So do you have anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, okay, I think there's a very big changes in the way you can actually use different kind of focus mode, I would say. So we are so used to DSLR anyway, so that you're very familiar with single point. I think you're also very familiar with dynamic point, where you can choose from a lesser point, more point, something like that. Then of course the 3D tracking, then you have the auto area. Okay, in the new system is quite different. You still have the point, you have the single point thing, but the point now can be very small, pinpoint, or actually there are 4 sizes you can choose. Very, very small, and small, medium, large. 4 sizes. This is the typical one focus point kind of thing. Okay, because the way the sensor works, the sensor will always activate everything. The whole sensor is always in working. So the difference is how you want to select your subject. So since it's working in such a way, there's a new mode called auto area. Auto area basically is quite different from the existing auto area itself. Now the cameras actually helps you to choose subject automatically. So by default, when there's no human subject, no faces detected, it will actually select the nearest subject, for example.
The usual
subject that is colorful, for example, high contrast or very obvious in the scene. You will select that. You can use it for tracking, definitely. And if there is a faces presence, there is a human presence in the pictures, okay, it will actually select the face. During the same mode, okay, it will select the face. So the face can also use it for tracking. So your question may be, what if more than one faces?
Oh, yeah.
Very common, right? Okay, it can be more than one faces, right? Okay, so by default, the cameras will actually pick one faces that is nearest, as near as possible. Then if there is someone else on the left or right side, it will show a small indicator on the arrow. Like for example, if his camera is selecting me as a primary selected focus, it will have a small arrow pointing to Qin Xiang. So you just need to flick on the the joystick. It will actually
move to the
switch
next
it
one
automatically.
I haven't tried this yet, actually.
Yes. Instead of moving the box one by one, it will actually flip over to select Qin Xiang face. That will be the primary faces. Of course, you can only select one primary faces at one time because you are still bound by depth of field. Okay, so if it's for it's the same focal plane, definitely this will be all covered. So going back to the original question itself on the 3D tracking, actually 3D tracking has also have a similar kind of function in auto area. Instead of letting the camera choosing random subject or choosing faces, you can actually activate by pressing the OK button. You will come out with a box which acts like a 3D tracking. It's actually called a subject tracking. Okay, you can manually aim the box in the main subject. Then there are many ways of doing it. For example, you can press OK to lock it. Which works like a 3D tracking. The tracks will bite on and move accordingly in the frame, which is 90% of the frame nowadays. So, or you aim at it, half press the focus button, the shutter button. It will also lock. So it can be a different way of using it. So the same mode have 3 different kind of behavior depending on your shooting. It's a lot more powerful than the previous one, I would say.
So when the focus is locked, the thing changed to red color, right?
Yes. I think it's a little bit confusing. When it's tracking, it's showing a bit of a red color instead of the yellow or instead of the
green.
Yes, something like that. Yeah, but the camera is tracking, don't worry.
Okay, good. So the next question we have is, so we have so many Nikon is so famous with F mount all this while, but now coming out with all these Z mount, a new Z mount, Z mount. Okay, so you still can comment if you think it's Z or Z. Okay,
yes.
So many S line now. So is it the direction of Nikon? Is it moving to this Z mount instead of or Nikon still going to produce a lot of great F mount lens?
Yeah, okay, definitely it's a very interesting question. So I know a lot of people are very interested to know because you have a DSLR. Okay, if you decided to continue with the DSLR, what will happen to the system? Because now that we introduce a new mount system.
Yeah, because we don't know what to buy now.
Yes, should I buy a new system or should I continue to use the old system? That kind of dilemma. So I think we all been there before. But don't worry. For Nikon, definitely both lines will still be in development. Okay, to give you some idea, when we launched the mirrorless camera, actually we did launch another 500mm prime lens as well. So that lens is actually is a good example of a commitment from Nikon that we will continue to develop the DSLR F mount as well. And if you notice, we did release another DSLR after the mirrorless camera. Unfortunately, I think everyone was only looking at the mirrorless camera. Nobody remembered the small little 3005, I would say. That is also another little brothers of the camera as well. It's a DSLR. It's a DSLR that has the F mount. So both system will actually coexist. Yeah. So we have more a comprehensive solution between the two line. Yeah.
Okay, so we have one more question here from Vicky Wong. What are the differences between AFC and AFF? So the full-time focus in video shooting. So he asked about what's the difference between AFC and AFF.
Yes, okay. It has something to do with video. This mode is especially designed for video. So very simple. There are three for you to choose from. Start from S. S is the most basic version, which means you press, it focuses. You don't press, there's no focusing at all. Traditional way. Yes. Okay. Of course, you can use a touch screen. You can touch to focus. Okay. Select your point and focus at the same time for video usage. Okay. This is a very basic functionality for most people. Okay. Of course, if you want to have a more seamless kind of shooting, the AFF will be very simple because it's called a full-time servo, which means cameras will always try to focus on the box itself. Anything that you put on the box, it will be focusing over there. So basically, the C is a completely new type for video. What happened is actually, you can use the touchscreen to choose. Use the touchscreen to choose which point you want to focus on. Once you confirm and you decided now it's time to start, you press the AF on button. Press and hold. This allows you to control the speed. You can actually, because sometimes touchscreen is very, we have a generally larger finger compared to the focus box, I would say. So a lot of time, we may click on the wrong thing. So you can make further correction by using the joystick, for example, or you re-click or something like that, retouch on the screen itself. Once it's decided, then you can press the AF on. AF on will start the focusing transition from changing from the original point to the new focus point. So this allows you to have more control. It's especially useful for if you put it on tripod, the cameras, a tripod. Then you have two persons talking to each other. So you can you can start shooting with person one first. Then during the conversation, maybe you want to switch to second person. Then you touch on the second person. When you're ready, click the AF on button. Then it will focus pull over to the first
use
person.
The AFC.
Doing this, you can control when to start and when to stop, for example. And also, this also allows you to, with the compatible lenses, the new lenses or the AFP or some of the new AF lenses, you can actually control the speed. You can move a lot smoother and slower for cinematic kind of effect as well. Yeah, that is basically a completely new mode compared to the existing DSLR.
Okay, so one more question here is that heard that the ISO is really amazing. So what do you think about this new Z series for Z7 and Z6? How about the ISO performance?
Yeah. Okay. Z7 is designed to have the same characteristic as a DA50 actually. So you will see that the ISO range is actually very similar from 64 onwards to 256,000. Then it's also the high resolution, 45.7 megapixels, exactly the same number as well. So what you can see, because ISO performance is very subjective to different person, but if you're very comfortable with the A50, like Jinxiang has been using A50, if let's say Jinxiang is very comfortable with ISO 4000,
I think
maybe
3002 is really acceptable.
Okay.
Then 6004 is still okay, I think.
Yeah, so it will be the similar kind of performance in the Z7 as well. So this is how it looks like. For Z6, you have a little bit of advantage because of the sensor is a lesser resolution. Each of the pixels actually is larger in size in comparison. And the ISO is actually slightly better, maybe one stop better, I would say. Yeah, so this gives you some idea on what is the usable, real world application. Yeah.
Okay. So actually for those who want to try this camera, so if let's say you are staying in KL, this camera will be available from the 22nd September onwards. So if you are staying in northern region, you can actually go to Excel Photo in this coming Friday and Saturday, which is 21st and 22nd, to have a try on this camera.
Yeah.
So
which is the day after tomorrow, this week.
The day after tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can really try this camera so that to have a feel on this thing. So like the question just now, we asked you all to comment, is it like Z or Z?
I don't know. Okay.
So we have actually a
Yes.
few people saying Z, a few people saying Z.
Yeah.
So actually, officially from Nikon, is it Z or Z?
Okay, officially, if you talk about the official names from Nikon Corporation itself, we actually call it as a Z. Z mount system or Z7, Z6, something like that. But of course, I think places like Malaysia, for example, in UK, Malaysia, Singapore, basically Z we pronounce as Z.
Yeah, normally
so
it's
it's
Z.
completely fine for you to call it a Z mount system or something like that as the following the local pronunciation. I think is completely no issue. This is still the camera, still a Nikon cameras. No matter you pronounce it as a Z or Z, they behave and perform the same. So but official name is going to be called a Z7. Yeah, on the Z mount system. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me see. Okay. So I think that's all for today. So if let's say you have any questions, you can always comment, and we'll try to get back to you.
Yes.
Of course, the time we don't have this live session with Albert
yes.
here now. I mean, if let's say after this live session, we don't have Mr. Albert here, but we can always try to reach for him for all these questions. So again, if let's say you are staying in KL, you can go to Nikon Experience Hub to try this camera after from 22nd onwards. And if you are in northern region, you can actually go to Excel Photo on this Friday and Saturday. So any questions? Okay, I think that's all for today. And thank you for watching this live video.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Albert, to be here also.
Yeah,
Thank you
very much.
Bye.
Please sharing here. Yeah.